Winning.
Goodbye indeed, Giants fans. Get out of CBP, man. You don't belong there. We absolutely demolished you in our win tonight. You looked absolutely terrible. What's going on, everybody? Eric here, also known as Shard with the 302 Birds post-game show. And what a freaking win, dude. What a win. What a win, Brendan. That was the best game I think I've seen all season long, dude. Everybody except for Nick Castellanos was hitting. Like, Witt had an amazing hit. Dude, like, that's just – it's everything that I've been hoping for has finally fallen into place.
Yeah, man. Like, I think everybody except for Stubbs tonight who came up the bat got on base. Whether it was a hit, whether it was, a home run, a walk, everybody got on. And 14-3, you know what the record is for this team in the last 20 games? Even if I told you, it's one of those things right now where I didn't believe it. And I had to go back and I counted through every single game of the last 20 games. They're 16-4
over the last 20.
Over the last 20,
doesn't feel like it, but
right.
I mean, it doesn't feel like it, but sure.
Yeah, it's because you had the Rocky series, you had the White Sox series back to back. They were winning series. They had the Padres series. They swept that. This team is rolling. I'm here for it, man. I know we were talking earlier about with some hot takes. I'm probably going to sit with one of them. I think you know which one I'm talking about. I got a different one, but we're here for it.
Yeah, we do have a special show for you guys tonight. We were talking earlier, we want to do some hot takes, maybe incorporate that into the show, and get you guys going with some comments as well, with some hot takes. So go ahead and save your hot takes for the end, just so that way we can see them in the comments. But if you guys stick around to the end, we want to try to get some of you guys talking here in chat, bring some of your comments up on the screen, just so that way we can do some hot takes together on the show. So our first topic for tonight that I want to talk about is that the Phillies start off super hot, not only for the season, but this game as well. The Phillies ultimately in the first inning there score 5 runs going into the first, make their starting pitcher on the Giants go, I believe he went 40 pitches before they said, fuck this, we're pulling you. Like, absolutely insane start. Absolutely crazy. I mean, like, I don't know what you call it when, the Phillies get on base and they completely blow it. I call it they Philly it, or it's Philly.
Yeah.
They didn't do that tonight. They had multiple times where they got on base and the bases were loaded and they were scoring runs. Like, everybody had a hit except, I think, Nick Castellanos tonight. I'm going to look up the stats now, but I mean, like...
Yeah, no, Pache had a walk. Caskey had a walk to get on. Stubbs had the fly out. I think he was the only one.
Yeah, I'm looking up stats now, and I want to see... trying to see, but it won't show me. But yeah, I mean, like, everybody basically had a hit tonight, and I mean, like, it's absolutely crazy to me because, like we've been saying, it's not one guy that's hitting every night. It's multiple guys, and I mean, with Trea Turner, and we're gonna get to that in a few minutes. With Trea Turner going down, I mean, like, it's good to see these guys stepping up and doing what they need to do. And sorry, I'm trying to pull up the stuff here.
I got you. Schwarber 2 hits, Realmuto a hit, Harper a hit, Bohm a hit. Bohm's up to 17 games. He's tied with Ozuna for most hits in the for the year. And then going through, Marsh with a hit. Cassie did have a hit.
Okay, he did have a hit.
Yep.
I need to stop hating on Cassie so much.
Stott with 2, Sosa with 2, and Rojas with 2.
Hey, Chiefs King, I think you're in the wrong spot, man. This is a Philly sports show. But anyway, Nick Castellanos needs his sunshine. Yeah, I mean, like, he's okay. He's give me one second. He's okay. I mean, he's kind of cold. Not exactly what he needs to be doing right now. Um, he's decent when he needs to be, but I always get that worry where he comes up to the base where like bases are loaded, and he's gonna be that kind of guy that gets out.
Right.
Um, and I mean, like, it's not terrible, but at the same time, like, I need him to ramp up his production because he's just not where I need him to be right now.
No, 100%. He's just not there. I know they sat him towards the end of the game, but it's just not where it needs to be like at all right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I think honestly, moving forward, I'm kind of worried for tomorrow as well because I sent something last year and I think it was absolutely hammered on Twitter. Shout out to absolutely hammered. But like they kind of did last year, it was funny because last year every time they would score 10 or more runs, sorry guys, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties, but Brendan's back. He's not frozen anymore, and his phone falls straight on the
Oh, we're good. We're good. We're
straight on
good.
the
We're
table.
good.
But anyway, last year it was worrisome because every time they would score 10 runs, the game after they would come out looking completely dog shit. So I think tomorrow it's going to be a shutout game. We're not going to hit anything, but we'll see.
Yeah, at the same time, who's pitching tomorrow.
I mean, yeah, it's Taiwan Walker, and I want to take a second to kind of talk about that. I'm going to pull up the tweet here just so I can read it out loud.
Right.
But looking at so they weren't making a decision for Turnbull, I guess, until today. So it looks like Christopher Sanchez is going to the bullpen. He was supposed to be available out of the bullpen today. He didn't pitch today, so he'll start on Tuesday. Spencer Turnbull will be available out of the bullpen tomorrow. If he doesn't pitch as a long man Sunday or Monday, he'll piggyback on Tuesday. So it seems like they're doing like a Sanchez Turnbull in one game kind of thing, I guess.
That was almost like what I was thinking might happen. Like, what we were talking about yesterday, and it really didn't turn out what we were talking about. But that's almost what my thought process was going to be. If you want to try to save Turnbull's arm, like everybody wants at this point right now, after coming off the Tommy John, didn't pitch 2 years ago, only pitched in a handful of games last year. It might not be the end the end of the world type of thing. The only thing that bothers me with this idea is neither one of these guys are high velocity, right? And you're taking them out of the bullpen, and they're not the Alvarado type who's pitching 100, Dominguez who's pitching 100. It's just not there. That's my biggest concern with it. It's not so much of who they are; it's just what they can bring out of the bullpen because it's a different type of pitching. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, like my whole thing with the bullpen right now that's kind of irritating me is again, I've said this numerous times, we need a set closing pitcher.
Right.
Like Sir Anthony came in tonight and I was kind of worried because Sir is kind of on and off. He had a decent outing tonight. I mean, wasn't, completely terrible, but at the same time it's like when you have guys that come in that aren't used to closing, it can go either way.
Right.
Granted, we're up 11 runs, so I'm fine with him closing tonight because he needs the experience. But at the same time, it's like, I want to be I want to be selfish. I don't want the other team to score more runs.
100%.
But yeah, I mean, Philly start hot. They win the game tonight, 14-3. Hopefully they come out tomorrow slugging as well. We'll see. Like I said, last season, every time they scored 10 or more runs, they came out the next night looking dog shit. So we'll see. But with that, and something that I'm kind of worried about because I don't know, what's going to come of this. Do we have the injury bug, Brendan? Like, is it our time? Is it coming for us? I don't know.
If there was ever a thing that can affect Philadelphia like an injury bug, I don't know what else it would be, right? You get Turner going down. The wild part with Turner is going from the game last night into today. I read from he's going to be out for today. He's going to be out for the weekend, maybe 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden they're saying 6 weeks.
when it's a hamstring, and then with the hamstring muscles and everything, it could be totally different than a broken bone type of thing, and you don't see what happened. But at the same time, it's just that sucks. You have Bohm going down tonight. Not really sure if that's more of a serious thing or if that was just precautionary. I think it might just be more precautionary than anything else. Being up whatever they were at when he got hit. And then one concern that I did have was with Ranger tonight. When right before he gave up that home run, he had that slip on the mound. I don't think they should have been playing at all. I think that was bullshit in my eyes. You have 2 more games in the series, so I don't understand why you can't just move this one when it's not pouring down rain and you don't want these guys to get hurt. But yeah, the injury bug can be a good, or not a good thing, but a real thing. So it is definitely concerning at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like Chiefs King said here, it was hip tightness. I don't know really what that means because, I'm old as fuck and I get hip tightness.
Right.
Just kidding. I'm not old. I'm in my 20s, but
right.
I mean, I feel like everybody gets hip tightness. I can't speak, but everybody gets hip tightness from now and then. So, I mean, what do they mean exactly by hip tightness? I guess that's my question. But I'm kind of worried that if it's something more, you got 2 of your major hitters right now going down.
And two of your top producing hitters too.
Right. But I mean, I guess tonight kind of gave us, and I'm kind of piggybacking off of what we discussed earlier, tonight kind of gave us a glimpse into, well, what happens if those guys go down? Can the other guys kind of step up and be what they need us to be? And I think, they showed that tonight. Granted, I don't want anybody to go down, but if shit hits the fan, we need the other guys to step up.
Yeah, and then you do remember what I said last night, right? I know you laughed at me earlier when I told you, but you remember what I said last night?
No, I don't.
Witt's hot, baby.
What's hot?
Witt's hot.
Witt's hot?
Witt is hot. That was a solid shot, man. And I think he's $8 million is a lot for a bench player. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, he's such a utility guy. And with whatever the hell's going around the clubhouse right now, it's huge. For Turner to go down last night, for Bohm to go, to sit down a little bit tonight, and then Witt to just hit that shot, it gives me a little bit more confidence in the bench. And same thing with Pache. I think he's still good if you need him out there. Sosa, I think, is a really good bench player as well. He's another utility type guy. Can play third, can play second, can play short.
Well, you know who loves Sosa, right?
Everybody loves Sosa.
The bitches.
I know.
Bitches love Sosa.
I was gonna let you say it.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we have so many guys that can come off the bench and be utility players. You can kind of throw them wherever, and they can do the job for a game or two. Granted, sometimes it doesn't always work. Like that game where they moved Bohm to first from third, and he looked uncomfortable. I think that it really depends on where you're putting guys,
right?
Because if you put them in the wrong spot, it can throw everything off.
100%.
And I think that when you rotate guys so much, again, you gotta be careful with it, because if you're putting a guy that's used to playing, for example, second, which this is something that they're going to do possibly with Trea being out, if it's 6 weeks, they might move Stott to short. Stott hasn't played short since I think before Trea got here.
Well, yeah.
So I mean, I'm curious to see how this can play out if Trea is out for an extended period of time.
Yeah, and it does sound like it's that 6 week period right now too.
I mean, I guess it's early, or I guess it's lucky that it's early in the season and not later. I feel like it's kind of like the same situation with Bryce last year, where he was out for an extended period of time, and then once Bryce came back, we kind of went on a little run there midsummer.
Right.
So I mean, that could be the same case now going into May and June.
Yeah, I think the only thing that, like I was saying before, that kind of is a concern is with how hot Turner is, of him cooling off from it. Granted, he's probably not going to be the same Turner over the first 7-8 games coming back, but he's batting over 330, 340 right now. He's hitting in runs, he's getting on base, he's stealing bases. Luckily, it is this early, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, never want anybody to be injured. Hopefully, he comes back looking the same as he did. I don't think it's anything too serious. I think it's just It's just going to be rest and relaxation kind of thing for him. Some sessions with the trainers, and we'll see what happens.
Right.
But going into our next topic that I want to talk about, my favorite fucking pitcher of all time. You got to bow down to the man. You got to bow down to him. He is absolutely on fire right now. I mean, he lets up 3 runs. I don't care because he's not let up many runs previously. But like, you got to give the guy his credit where credit is due. He goes 6 innings pitched tonight, lets up 7 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned runs, 1 home run, 1 batter walked, 6 strikeouts. But you know what his ERA is right now? A 1.72. It's still a sub 2.
Yeah.
I don't care that he let up runs. He's on fire.
No, and that's going to be my first hot take of the night. Is I think he's going to finish this year with a sub 2 ERA. I think he's going to be the first pitcher since Holiday in 11 to do that. He's there. Granted, tonight really wasn't his strongest outing. I think a little bit had to do with the weather. Definitely, it is what it is. It's still Ranger Suarez, the coolest guy on earth, the calmest guy on earth. Nothing's going to change. I think he's going to just bounce right back from it, and probably next time he's going to come out with 10 Ks. I really it's going to be a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. I mean, again, his ERA, even with him letting up 3 runs, his ERA is still amazing.
Yeah,
and like Cheese King said here, Ranger is better than Wheeler and Nola. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, and then the other thing with that is like the first inning, Giants pitchers couldn't throw strikes. I think they had 39 through like 2/3 when they pulled the guy out. He sat for a while in the first. He sat for a while in the second. So that definitely has an impact on a pitcher. The weather was cooler tonight. Not making excuses, but I'm definitely going to start making a couple of excuses for him tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm gonna save my hot take until later because I do have a hot take I want to touch on that regards Ranger. But I mean, like, this dude's on a tear right now, and if he doesn't come out of the season with some kind of recognition, I'm gonna lose my absolute mind because he deserves everything that's coming his way. When is his contract negotiation? Like, how long do we have him locked up for? Do you know?
That I'm not sure. But I think this goes back, like what you were just saying, goes back to what we were talking about last night, just putting some respect on this team. And then more individually, these players like Suarez, like Bohm. I'll throw my last hot take out for the night of, I think Alec Bohm's going to start for the NL All-Star team this year. I think he's going to be the third baseman for the team, and that's amazing.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, if Ranger, Bohm, you can maybe throw Marsh in there. If they're not NL All-Stars, I will be absolutely surprised.
Right now, you could have Ranger Suarez starting the All-Star game and Alec Bohm as your third baseman.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, if we're talking about the All-Star game, though, the only thing that worries me is I hope it's not a repeat of last year where our guys go to the All-Star game and they come back looking cold as shit.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the case with the guys that we're talking about now, just because they're, I think, a little bit better than the guys we sent last year. But
right.
We'll see. We'll see. But this is going to be a little bit of a rant in our next topic because I'm so tired of Braves fans thinking they're the hottest thing on planet Earth right now, because you're not. You're not. The Phillies took over the division. Brendan and I predicted it here first. We said by the end of this week we were taking over the division, and look what happened. We took it over. We are 1 game ahead, I think, right now. Braves are down right now. Last time I checked, it was 7-1. It's still 7-1, top of the 7th, and they are 1 game back. So if they lose that game, it sets them back 1.5. So,
yeah,
I mean, like, Braves, what's going on, man?
I just wanted to clarify one thing we were talking about last night about like the tiebreakers. So it starts out with your record, then it goes into your record against your opponent, and then it goes into interdivisional play of what your record is, and then divisional play.
Okay. So just a lot of things that kind of determines.
So it almost
what-
breaks what else we were talking about last night with the Marlins and them getting rid of Luis and picking those games back up, winning these simple games against the Marlins, winning these simple games against the Nationals, just in case you do come back down to that tiebreaker at the end of the year.
I'm not worried about the Marlins at all.
No.
I don't know if anybody saw, but they got absolutely smoked by the Athletics tonight. Something was in the air because, I mean, like, there were multiple games where there's high scoring. The Marlins lose 20-4 against the Athletics. So, I mean, like, I'm not worried about the Marlins. You got rid of who did they trade last night?
Luis Suarez.
Yeah, you got rid of Luis. He's, one of your heavy hitters, your top guys. You got rid of him. Like Chiefs King said here, they have $3 tickets to get into the game. So I mean, like, I'm not worried about the Marlins. I'm not worried about the Mets. The Mets are always going to be the Mets. I'm not worried about the Nationals because, I mean, the Nationals are what they are. I'm worried about the Braves because, I mean, the Braves are the Braves, but, like, I mean,
not worried like years past.
No, I'm not. I mean, like, this team is hot. And I mean, the big thing, so I posted something on TikTok earlier. I posted for those of you that want to see it, it's Philly Shardy on TikTok. But I posted that we were in the lead for the division, and what a lot of Braves fans were saying, and Brendan, I don't know if you want to elaborate on this, they were like, well, who have you played? Well, who have the Braves played? You're sitting there farming. Who do they play? The Marlins. You farmed the freaking. Let's look.
I know they play the Guardians. I know that was in there somewhere, but it's not like the Phillies are playing trash teams right now. Like, they swept the Padres. Granted, April was an easier month. May's probably on the easier side, probably a little bit more difficult. The Giants aren't the worst team in the league, but they're not somebody that you just skate all over, even though they did that with 14-3 tonight. But say what you want. The Phillies don't make the schedule. The city doesn't make the schedule. The league does. So if you're gonna bitch about that to anybody, bitch about it to them.
It's the same shit we went through 2 years ago with the Eagles.
Right.
Oh, well, you have a cupcake schedule. We don't make the fucking schedule. We just win the games.
Right.
And it's like Braves fans are like, oh, well, you're not playing people that are above 500. Who gives a shit? Give us a fucking match. Watch us win the game. Sit down. Shut up. We're taking on division. I don't care. My other thing with winning the division right now, though, is I'm curious to see that, if we do win the division, how we handle that. What is it, a week bye?
Yeah. I think with this team, it's going to be okay, though. It's not like it's the 2022 Phillies where it's the first time we've had a taste of the playoffs. This is the same team that's ran it back 3 times now. Harper, you got a leader. Schwarber, you got a leader. Maybe you lose a little bit with Hoskins not being here anymore. But JT said from the beginning of the year that he wants to win the division. John Middleton said he wants to win it all. It might hinder a little bit, but at the same time, Nola's good on rest. Suarez can pitch whatever, and playoff Wheeler is playoff Wheeler. So I'm not concerned about that. I'd rather win the division, have to win less games, have to win less series, and then just take it all away.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think my thing is that, if we do win the division and we get that week off, are guys going to take that week off to still train, still do what they need to do? Or are they going to take that week off and kind of use it as like R&R in a sense?
Right.
Because I know, going into the postseason, it's really busy. It's really tense, really stressful. But, we'll see what happens when that time unfolds. We still got a couple months. But a lot of my Phillies friends were like, well, what if we don't win the division and we kind of let the Braves have their week off? Because if they do, then it makes it easier for us in the postseason to whip them a third time.
Right. Honestly, I'm not concerned either way. Either you get the series off and you make it to the NLDS, or you go to wild card series, you win the wild card series, and you end up back with the Braves. Either way, third time's a charm. Third time's a charm to win the World Series.
Braves fans, Glaze, Strider, and Acuna. Like, cool. You won a World Series just because you won a World Series in your lifetime. Like, cool, we don't care. Y'all still suck. I mean, they have more. They have more rings. They have more World Series. But at the end of the day, who's whooped them twice now in the postseason?
Not concerned.
But to kind of wrap up our show tonight, to kind of close it out, this is where it's going to be kind of us and you guys. If you guys want to post your stuff in the chat, we'll go ahead and read it and discuss. But we have Phillies hot takes, and we kind of want to make this a new topic to close out the show each and every night. So we'll see what happens with this. But we each came up with 2 hot takes that we're gonna, go over and discuss between each other. But I'll go ahead and say my first hot take that I think is going to happen, and I think that it's going to be the Phillies are a 100 plus team, 100 and plus win team this season.
Yeah, right now, on pace to win 108.
Yeah, and I see that. I think last season they won, what was it, like 92, 93?
Yeah.
And I think, as a fan, I was kind of more worried about them getting above that 90 mark. Because I think the previous season when we went to the World Series, they were what, like high 80s?
Yeah. I think 87 or 88 when they that year.
Right. So I think, honestly, I want as a fan to get above that 100 mark because I really think, like we've been saying the past couple of nights, it solidifies us that we need to be respected, that we can win 100 plus games like, these other teams that are getting all this recognition that we're not.
Right.
And then my second hot take, which I think this is a really hot take, I think Nick Castellanos is going to have a reverse of last year, where last year he was really hot up until All-Star, and then after that he kind of got cold. I think it's going to be reversed this year. I think he's going to be really cold going into the All-Star break. He's going to get really pissed off that he's not a All-Star back-to-back years, and then he's going to come out hot after the All-Star break.
Yeah, I think one thing, this city's going to eat him alive until July, though.
Yeah, I mean, my thing with being a Philly fan, and, you can ask anybody that's a Philly reporter, a fan, an analyst, a journalist, whatever. If you try your best and you put yourself on the line, regardless if it's Eagles, Flyers, Sixers, Phillies, whatever, if you show effort and you show that you want to be here, we will 100% back you through whatever.
Right.
I think my thing with Nick Castellanos right now is, again, he just seems like he doesn't care.
Yeah. I know people have talked about it. All these announcers have talked about it. Fransky, McCarthy, Kruk, saying that he does care. I'm sure he does. Like, I wouldn't take it away from him that he's just in a slump. But at the same time, he's looking horrible while he's trying.
Right. Well, even like Kruk, I think it was Kruk or Tom. One of them said tonight, when the hell is he going to have an off day? Like, because Kruk was like, well, everybody's had an off day besides him and Trea. And he was like, well, now that Trea's injured, he has an off day. So Kruk was like, well, when the hell is Nick going to have an off day?
Mm-hmm. It's the same thing we've been for weeks now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the dude needs to sit a game or two. I mean, like, I'm not the biggest Nick hater. I don't mind Nick. But again, you got to sit the guy a game or two and see what can happen without him.
Definitely.
But before we transition into Brendan's hot takes, let's go ahead and look at the comments here. So let's see. Chiefs King says, hot take, when June comes around, Johan is going yard and hitting crazy home runs. June Phillies baseball is always that time of year where stuff starts to go crazy. Everybody comes out of the woodworks on the team, starts hitting, starts producing. And I really do, I think Johan is going to go crazy towards the end of the season. I think he's going to get super comfortable. I think he's going to finally get his mechanics down. I think he's finally going to, step up to the plate, start hitting some home runs. And I think, honestly, if they decide to keep him on next year, I think next year is where you're going to see more and more home runs from the kid.
Okay. I'll eat my hat when he has more than 5 home runs in a year.
I think He already has what? He has one, and I think career wise in the MLB, he has two. Because I think last year, which some people don't count it because it was a position player that was pitching.
Yeah,
I forget who it was, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's still a home run at the end of the day. So he has two while he's been up here. I think personally, though, I think next year he's going to come out with anywhere between 5 to 10 home runs.
Yeah, I can see next year. Just I don't see it being this year though.
I think by the end of this year he'll have. Is that 2 right now? I want to say 4 or 5.
Okay. Yeah, I was in like probably the 3 to 4 range.
Yeah. I think, I think he's one of those players that shows that he's been improving. I think he's gotten his mechanics down a little bit more than he did at the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah. Well, he's not the Phillies' worst outfielder right now, so he definitely has that going for him.
Yeah, but Brendan, go ahead with your hot takes.
Yeah, like I talked about the Suarez one with him being a sub-2 for the year. Bohm being the all-star third baseman for the Phillies this year. I'm gonna ride with those for the night. Not gonna beat them into a dead horse or anything, but I'm riding with those two. Bohm is going to be the NL all-star third baseman starter, and I genuinely think that the best pitcher in baseball is going to have a sub-2 ERA.
You really think Ranger's going to have a sub-2?
I do.
You're riding with it?
I'm riding with that. If he has a sub-2, I'll get a tattoo. There you go.
Shoot, man, I'll go with you.
Yep, I'll get a sub-2 tattoo if he goes for the year and gets a Cy Young.
I think what would make it better is if we can find a way to get Ranger's signature.
Yeah, 100%. I'm down for
that. But yeah, I mean, right now, the way he's pitching, I mean, he's coming out almost every game with a below sub-2 ERA. So I mean, if he's going to pitch, I'm throwing out a random ballpark number here.
25.
Probably like 20 to 25 more games before the end of the season. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
I was going to say like the 25 range.
Yeah, so I mean, if he can go 25 more outings with a sub-2 ERA, then yeah, I mean, he's definitely going to get a Cy Young this year.
I'm here for it. Nobody else should be getting it over him.
But to kind of close out with our last hot take, and Brendan, I don't agree with you on this one at all. But I want you to go ahead and say it because I don't agree with it at all. But go ahead.
Which one? The one that I was taking out?
The one that you texted me.
I'm not ready for it yet. I'm gonna hold off. It's too far. It's too hot. I'm not here for it yet. I think it's a little bit. It's almost like a jinx in my eyes. So I'm not even gonna mention it yet.
All right. Well, yeah.
A couple weeks on that one. Let me think about it. Let me do some digging, and we'll go from there.
All right. Well, just to kind of give a sneak peek, Brendan just has a really, really juicy hot take. I don't agree with it at all. But we'll see. Because I think the topic of your hot take is just not smart. But we'll leave it at that. I'll give you a little sneak peek. But yeah, I mean that's kind of all we have for you guys tonight. Phillies absolutely dominate tonight, 14-3 win. Hopefully they come out tomorrow looking absolutely dominant and on top. Going to go ahead and check the score for the Braves game. Just give an update. It is 8-2 at the bottom of the 7th. So both teams have scored another run. So it's kind of that's what is that 6-run deficit going into the bottom of the 7th.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, I think by the end of the night we'll be in a good position to stable our name into leading the division.
There we go. Just keep rolling.
But on that note, that's all we have for you. And yeah, I mean, great win, great overall win. But yeah, so on that note, peace.